from the station that's on your side. News 12, first at 5, continues.
Grateful to be alive. A local woman still battling for her health. We're going to bring you her story as she grapples with long-haul COVID coming up.
But first, we're following up on local leaders' response to violent crime. We told you yesterday there was some miscommunication in Augusta Commission between the Sheriff's Office and commissioners.
And today we're following up on plans to address violence from both sides. Kennedy Harris live in the newsroom for us.
Kennedy, you tell us the Sheriff's Office has made requests and outlined a plan. Tell us more.
Yeah, Laura, despite the confusion at yesterday's meeting, the Sheriff's Office wants to assure you they do have a plan to address the violence, and they have a backup plan, too. Chief Deputy Patrick Clayton told us even though he was not invited to come speak in the commission meeting yesterday, he did speak with two commissioners a few months back about what some of the Sheriff's Office's needs are. Some of those needs are specifically to address gun violence, like funding for retention and sign-on bonuses to hire and keep more deputies on the street, funding to hire outreach coordinators for their program, Augusta Giving Back. That program provides resources to people at risk of being involved in gun violence, and money for security cameras too. Even though that conversation he had with two commissioners was informal and not a specific request, he says he's more than willing to sit down with all the commissioners and continue the conversation.
We've been kind of giving them suggestions on things that we need all along, and we will continue to do that. We have a plan. We always have a plan, and we have a plan A, B, and C.
And commissioners are working on their own plans to address gun violence as well. But how much will it cost, and where will the money come from? I'm working on that story for tonight at 6 o'clock.
All right, thanks, Kennedy. Our local Sheriff's Office tells us there is some simple things you can do to help curb violence. They say they far too often have guns stolen from cars, and those end up in the wrong hands. From February of last year to February of this year, to be exact, about 120 guns were reported stolen. That was in Columbia County. In the same time frame in Richmond County, close to 470 were reported stolen. These numbers include guns stolen from homes or businesses, not just cars, but law enforcement tell us many cases of gun thefts are from people leaving the weapons outside of their vehicle. They urge legal gun owners to take their guns out of your car when you're not using them.
Conversation about gun violence also rising to the surface in South Carolina after this video surfaced of gunshots causing kids to duck and dive for cover at a youth baseball game. This is happening in North Charleston, South Carolina. The incident captured on video by the father of one of the kids in the game. He says the gunfire happened in a parking lot right next to the field, and several of the parents' cars were hit by bullets. Governor McMaster posting on Twitter he would sign into law any measures passed by the General Assembly to toughen gun laws. McMaster is running for a second term as South Carolina governor. His Democratic opponent, Joe Cunningham, releasing a statement about the shots at that ball game, saying it's time for tough conversations. And as governor, he will fund our law enforcement, increase community policing programs, and get illegal guns off the streets.
Taking a look outside over the Calhoun Expressway this afternoon.
The 77 Club, Sandersville. A few warmer spots so south of us, hitting the upper 70s, just really picture perfect weather. Now, if you are heading out to SRP Park, remember we got the Green Jackets still in town tonight, taking on the Shorebirds. First pitch, we should be near the mid to low 70s, 73 degrees right there along the river. Towards the end of the game, dropping down to the 60s, so may want to grab that light jacket if you are stepping out. Tomorrow's going to be just as nice, gradually just getting a little bit warmer into the afternoon, but take a look at that morning temperature right around sunrise. It's going to feel a little bit cool outside. Have a look at some rain heading our way this weekend in just about 10 minutes.
Well, take a look at this map. This is from the CDC, and it shows levels of community spread and community risk levels by county all across the entire country. As you can see, most of the entire country is green, which is a low risk level, which is good news. That's based on new COVID cases in hospital beds filled with COVID patients. And all of the CSRA right now is currently at a low risk, really all of Georgia and South Carolina, except a few counties in southeast Georgia. But to stay up to date with all of this information and vaccines, and they say to get tested if you have symptoms, that is the goal, to keep these numbers moving in the right direction.
The CDC releasing new data that shows nearly 60% of adults, 75% of kids have antibodies showing they've been infected with COVID. Months ago, local health experts expressed some concern over the questions surrounding long-haul COVID symptoms. Sloan O'Cone live in the studio with us to bring us the story of one patient still fighting a battle against long COVID.
Our local health officials are starting to switch gears from taking care of COVID patients to now learning how to take care of long COVID patients. Michelle Woods was perfectly healthy before COVID. Now she's navigating her long-term symptoms with her pulmonologist, cardiologist, and a list of other medical professionals.
It's hard, but I'm here. I'm here.
Michelle tested positive for COVID on August 27th in 2021. She got infected after her first dose of her vaccine. A few days later, she was taken to doctor's hospital, given a monoclonal antibody, and spent a week there until she was moved to the ICU.
I thought I just went to sleep just for a little while. I didn't know. I found out from my husband that I had been in the hospital, that I was in the hospital for about almost a month.
Intubated, sedated, and eventually transferred for more care.
The first nurse that treated me, she told me, she said when she first saw me, she said, I didn't think you'd make it through the night.
Michelle had to learn how to walk again. Her lungs shrank from severe scar tissue. She suffers from brain fog, dizziness, fatigue, hair loss.
And my brush was like filled with hair. And I was like, oh my God, the more I did it, the more came out.
And the worst part, she doesn't know when she'll get better.
He told me you'll never be 100% because you'll probably get back to 75, 80%.
Where would you say you are now?
50, 45, 50%.
But no matter what, she won't stop trying.
It's frustrating. I can't do it now, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
And I asked our local health officials if Michelle had been able to get her second shot, if it would have made a difference for her long COVID symptoms. They say it's hard because there isn't one agreed upon definition of long COVID, so not a lot of studies have been done on it yet. So far, they say about 1 in 8 people have some symptoms of long COVID.
The vaccines are most effective in the range of 85 to 90% effective at reducing the risk for preventing severe disease, but they seem to be only about 56% effective against these newer variants or subvariants, and that seems to be about the same effectiveness as they are for preventing long COVID.
The CDC says you have the best protection against variants like Omicron if you get the booster. And right now, people 50 and older and people 12 and older at high risk can get a second booster shot.
Late Secretary of State Madeleine Albright honored by the President and world leaders at her funeral today. The service was held at Washington National Cathedral. President Joe Biden delivered Albright's eulogy, calling the first woman to serve as Secretary of State a force of nature and proud American.
Having gained the blessings of liberty, she wanted nothing more than to share them around the globe. May she always be a light to all those in the darkest places. A reminder of our obligation to one another.
Former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton also delivered remarks. Albright died of cancer at the age of 84 back in March.
Well, it's been a difficult few years for our teachers, and one local educator is earning some statewide recognition for her dedication to that job. That's ahead, first at 5.
And high pressure is bringing us sunshine out there this afternoon that will stick around the next couple of days, but weekend rain chances are going up. Have a look at that just after the break.
This local man is starting a long journey downstream. This morning, Ron Turner put his kayak in the Savannah River right there at the Lock Dam. He plans to take it all the way to Tybee Island and the Georgia coast.
It's something he's wanted to do for a long time, and he actually tried it last June, but wasn't able to finish the journey for a few reasons. But now he's taking what he learned last time and giving it another shot. So we wish him well. We hope he has a lot of bug spray on board, and we can't wait to hear about his
Lots
trip.
of water and all that.
Yeah. Well, check it out. You can actually watch his journey if you want to keep up with him. You can watch it in real time. This map uses GPS to show us where he's been, and where he is now.
Ron believes it'll be about a 4-day journey downstream. He's going to camp along the way. And coming up here on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we're going to hear from Ron and check back on his progress. But what an amazing adventure. And I'm sure his family's relieved to be able to track him every mile of the Savannah River.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we were saying it's really rural. There's not a boat ramp every 100 yards. You're alone out there.
Yep.
Wow.
Lots of alligators, lots of cottonmouths,
Yeah, I was
lots of
going to say,
mosquitoes.
not on my to-do list, I will tell you that.
That's not a hotel stay by any means, but I am very envious of them. I think that would be a lot of fun.
It would be
Yes,
great.
this seems like a you kind of trip and
I love it.
less of a me kind of trip.
4 days though, I mean that's 4 straight days just you are on the water all day long.
Yeah.
That's cool stuff. Best of luck to Ron. I'm interested to hear that package coming up
It'll
at
make
6.
a great documentary one day.
Hey, absolutely. And he had great weather to start off the trip next week.
Some Columbia County students get a big send-off today. This was the pep rally for the North Harlem Elementary Green Power team. They got a car kit and a mission.
From there, they worked really hard to design and build their car along with raising money for their trip. This weekend, their skills will be put to the test. The North Harlem team is the only team in Georgia to go this weekend. That competition is in Huntsville, Alabama, so good luck, and we hope your car wins.
The car looks great, by the way. Good job, kids. The Georgia Teacher of the Year, down to 10 candidates now, one of them from right here in Augusta. State School Superintendent Richard Woods paying a visit to Vicki Knox to mark that occasion.
She's an elementary school math teacher at Deer Chase Elementary. The superintendent went on a tour of Deer Chase Elementary and presented Cox with a Distinguished Service Award, so good luck.
It shows the work, shows the dedication, but it shows the passion and love that each of these individuals, especially Miss Knox, has for her kids, is what we're about.
To be honored and to have that sort of accolade is just amazing. It really is. Words can't describe it.
Ms. Knox was also a one-on-one guest recently. We loved meeting her here in the studio. The Georgia Teacher of the Year will be announced this Saturday, and that person will be entered into the National Teacher of the Year competition. Good luck, Ms. Knox.
Exciting. There's a new boss at Twitter, so what does that mean for you? Coming up, a few things that could change now that Elon Musk will be in charge.
The live eye cameras.
We've already recovered hundreds of millions for injured clients. Call me right now.
Well, maybe you've heard, Elon Musk is the proud owner of one of the largest social media networks in the world. The billionaire paying $44 billion of his dollars for Twitter, leaving a lot of users wondering, what does this mean?
Well, changes no doubt in Twitter's future. Jamie Tucker takes a look at some of the ways Musk might tweak Twitter and what one longtime Twitter user hopes to see.
Yeah, whenever a new boss comes into the office, you wonder not if things will change, but how things will change. In his initial tweet announcing his purchase of Twitter, Musk prioritizes Twitter's algorithms as open source, defeating bots and authenticating all humans. Blocking fake accounts will be a most welcome change. Musk also emphasizes the importance of Twitter being the public square where free speech is allowed. Now, conservatives are excited to hear that, while many liberals are concerned that what some may consider free speech is hate speech to others. Some Twitter users, like Dan Morris, are hopeful that change won't be as divisive as some fear.
But I don't think it will ever become a conservative thing or a liberal thing. Twitter is a worldwide thing. Like every person in the world has this platform where they can say whatever they want. You can't be squelched.
Morris has used Twitter since 2008 and uses it a lot for his podcast, Tracing the Path. He tells me he thinks we're going to see some big changes that can make Twitter more than just a news source and more than just another social media platform.
Maybe it's the people running Twitter that lost their ability to think big and come up with new ideas. And now we've got somebody whose entire world is thinking big.
Other possible changes: a tier of paid subscriptions to Twitter that would give those users an edit button, the ability to tweet longer threads, or maybe an expansion of its live video streaming options. And as Morris told me, maybe a lot of things no one has even thought about except Elon Musk. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
Okay, so Twitter has around 400 million active monthly users, and that ranks 6th, actually, behind Facebook, behind Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and Pinterest. So they're down there.
For the ability to
Edit your
yourself.
tweets. And having longer tweets, I don't like the sound of that.
No, that's why we're on Twitter, right?
Mhm.
Keep it short.
Keep it short. Give
We
it to
don't
me
need to
as
hear anything else. We'll go to Facebook
the
for that.
fewest words possible, please. Okay, as the hub for community innovation gets closer to opening in Augusta, they're inviting all of us to come out and meet everyone. They say if you live or work in the Harrisburg or Laney Walker community, you can show up for a roundtable discussion coming up Tuesday from 5:30 to 6:30 in the evening. Shortly after that, they're holding their first annual farmers market. That's on May the 12th, the 19th, and the 26th. All Thursdays, by the way, from 3:30 until 7. And then the hub grand opening scheduled for sometime in late June.
They say it is never too late to start something new, and one Georgia man knows that mantra all too well.
I'm thinking of the Beatles song, When I'm 64.
Jeff Criswell considers himself a frustrated writer, and aren't we all, and wants to do something more meaningful, so he's going back to school. Criswell is headed to Kennesaw State University this summer to become a high school English teacher. He'll be 64 by the time he's certified.
Most people are thinking about how much golf they can play, or, moving to Florida to retire or whatever, God bless them. People of our age have so much to give. There's so much life experience.
Yeah, you finally start to figure it out, and then you hang up the hat. But in Georgia, people 62 and older can enroll in classes at any of the 31 colleges and universities in the state system, tuition free. I didn't know that. Did you?
I did not know that.
You going back to school?
Take advantage of that. I don't know, but I like the idea of the silver power. I'm all about that.
Silver power.
Silver power.
I never heard it, but I like it.
I like it. Okay, last night the Hawk season, and we're sad to say, officially came to a close.
We really thought that Georgia could keep this run
Wouldn't that have
going.
been
I mean,
amazing?
wouldn't it have been a storyline if they came back? But a lot of fans are asking what happened and what's next. So Alyssa Lyons joins us in the studio.
Well, this time last year in the NBA playoffs, the Hawks were 2 wins away from the finals. Last night, they flipped it to the last page of the book, losing in the first round to the Heat, ending their season 8th in the East. Young finished with more turnovers than points in the last 5 games against the Heat. DeAndre Hunter picked up 35, but fouled out with 46 seconds on the clock. Gallo and Herter both sat at 12 apiece, but the Heat still managed to pull the clincher by 3 without Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry. Today, the slate has been wiped clean, and a new book begins for the Hawks.
This series is tough. They definitely challenged us. You got to go back, to the drawing board and figure out where we can be better at as a team and come back next year and not be in the situation. And we fought all year and fought to the end.
This upcoming offseason, the Hawks still have a first-round pick. Other than that, there's little roster mobility. 8 players are on guaranteed contracts, leaving the Hawks to rely on returners Trae Young, John Collins, and Clint Capella. Riley?
All right, thanks for that update, Alyssa. We are looking dry.
Closed captioning for News 12 is brought to you by Kenneth Nugent. From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
It is the same problem, the same mess for neighbors living along this street in Augusta. We're going to take you there for a live look at the problem and what the city says they're going to do to fix this.
Plus, now is the time to get outside before rain chances go up for the weekend. First Alert meteorologist Riley Hale tracking our next chance for showers.
But we begin with continuing coverage on curbing the crime problem in Augusta.
Our team is live tonight talking about factors that are fueling the violence and solutions moving forward. We want to lead things off with News 12's Kennedy Harris. She's live from the Richmond County Sheriff's Office with how deputies and city leaders plan to work together.
Yeah, Laura, some commissioners have said the only way they can really address violence is by allocating money the sheriff's office says they need. So I asked leaders today, what's the cost of ending violence?
Gun violence has always been prevalent in Richmond County. It's not something brand new.
It's not a brand new problem, but some leaders say brand new solutions are what's needed.
If it doesn't happen today, if we don't start today or tomorrow, when will we start?
Commissioner Alvin Mason says the areas labeled as crime hotspots are the same ones lacking in resources and funding. Programming is what commissioners agreed yesterday would make a difference. Reopening closed community centers like this one in Barton Village.
I brought in computers. They could work on their SATs, the ACTs. We had a nutrition program. We had senior programs going on in there. and it was much better than what we're seeing right now.
It costs millions of dollars a year to maintain the parks the city has now, but Mason says the money is there. $14.5 million in the current budget and $10 million in American Rescue Plan funds. But everyone wants $1.
We've been kind of giving them suggestions on things that we need all along.
The sheriff's office says they'd like money for cameras, employee bonuses, and outreach initiatives to help lower crime. Nearly $1.7 million is the estimate.
We can't just pour out money saying for one particular department and overlook the other.
If the money is there, the task is deciding where it goes.
That's not going to be the end-all, fix-all to it all, but we have to start somewhere.
And commissioners, well, the sheriff's office says they're willing to sit down with commissioners in private to talk in detail about their plan to address the current crime wave. And commissioners say their work to address crime is just now starting.
Kennedy Harris, live for us downtown. Kennedy, thank you for that update. As law enforcement works to curb crime, one problem officers tell us they keep fighting is stolen guns falling into the wrong hands.
We want to bring in News 12 Celeste Springer live in our newsroom. And Celeste, you talked to 2 different agencies today about just how big of a risk this is to our community.
That's right, Laura. It's all too often, though, that we see people arrested and charged with murder, also charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. But how are these felons getting their hands on guns, and what can you do to help stop it? While the River region has seen multiple shootings these past few weeks, there have also been other crimes lately, ones less violent. In fact, ones that just involve a jiggle of a door handle.
These that we are seeing are not smash and grab. These are folks that are pulling on door handles because they know that most folks are not securing their vehicles.
From February of 2021 to February of 2022, about 470 guns were reported stolen in Richmond County. About 120 reported stolen in Columbia County. Law enforcement agencies tell us a good bit of these are nabbed from cars.
A good portion of them are drug addicts. And so what they normally do, they normally sell the guns they'll sell them for astronomically low prices.
In 2021, the Richmond County Sheriff's Office says they recovered a little more than 330 guns from people they were arresting. About 8% of those cases involved a stolen gun. As of the first of this month, the Grovetown Police Department said they had 52 entering auto cases. 9 of those cases had a weapon stolen. That means 17% of car break-ins resulted in a gun theft.
We do have a few victims that have had the same gun stolen out of their car multiple times.
Law enforcement agencies hope you'll take the time to take your gun out of your car when you're not in it, so that that gun stays out of the wrong hands. Law enforcement agencies tell us they recover a lot of stolen guns from traffic stops or during the commission of another crime, though they're not recovering them as quickly as they're being stolen. In Columbia County, for example, we told you that about 120 guns were reported stolen over the course of a year. In that same time period, only about 40 were recovered.
A simple step that could make a big difference on the street. Celeste, thanks.
To weather now as I give you a live look out.
10 minutes.
A local high school football coach and his family are home from the hospital after a deadly crash in Augusta. This was the scene Saturday night at the intersection of Wrightsboro Road and Troop Street. Richmond County deputies say 50-year-old Raymond Allen was on the run at the time of that crash. He was in a car going 90 miles an hour down Wrightsboro Road when police say he ran the red light and T-boned a Toyota 4Runner. Inside that 4Runner, Aquinas High School head football coach James Leonard, his wife, and their young son. Deputies tell us Allen died at the scene. Coach Leonard and his wife were taken to the ICU, but they're now back home with their son, who is also recovering from some minor injuries.
For most of us, spring showers come and go, but for neighbors living on this street in Augusta, this cleanup can take days. Warden Drive right off Olive Road right here, and this is the mess neighbors say they deal with time and time again. Will Rio out there live for us now, and Will, you say crews are out there cleaning up today. How's it looking now?
Yeah, Richard, it's definitely still a mess out here. The homeowner at this house right here says that this is not the first time something like this has happened, but it certainly is the worst that's happened so far. You can see his front yard right here. The fence is completely down. That's because of all the water that's risen. His front yard full of mud. There's barely any grass left. So what we're seeing is here, these storm drains are getting clogged up by these sticks and these logs that are getting lodged into those storm drains. That's causing the water to rise up here, which is making a huge mess here. It's also caused a lot of damage to the homes in this neighborhood. For more than 20 years, Arthur Riddles has lived in his home on Wharton Drive.
Just as high as they can get, steady running clean across there.
He came out to his front yard completely flooded up to his front steps. And this isn't the first time this has happened to neighbors in the area.
I seen it, but it didn't do this much.
Workers with the city were out here helping clear debris on the road and also underneath the road, too.
He pumped it out yesterday. Now I got the big logs in it now. So it's gonna stop again.
Engineers say there's a retention pond right up the road. A ditch is connected to the pond that runs along the back of these houses. When it rains, debris gets sucked into the storm drains and gets stuck. That's when water gets backed up, causing this mess.
I've never seen this much.
The city says at times they've had beaver issues in the ditch behind Wharton Road, but it was checked last Friday and it was clear. Several neighbors say this is at least the third time it's flooded since August.
Now I guess it'll get worse. I don't know. It ain't gonna heal itself.
Crews will be out here starting tomorrow to help finish cleaning up this mess that you see that's left behind from those flooding issues. We talked to Augusta Engineering today. They said that they're going to hopefully put up some screens around these storm drains to prevent this issue from happening again.
A frustrating issue for sure on that street on Wharton Drive. Well, thanks for the update there. Well, coming up here, Riley, take it away.
Hey.
Plus, he and his kayak, they are ready for their biggest journey yet. Meet the local man paddling his way all the way down the Savannah River when we come back.
Diamond.
A local kayaker with his eyes on the coast just taking off today on a 200-mile journey all the way down the Savannah River.
Yeah, it's a long one. He's on his way to Tybee Island as we speak. Our Will Volk caught up with him this morning about his plans to get there.
You got it?
Ron Turner is ready to take his kayak on its longest journey ever.
Took me about 20 years to finally be in the point in life where I can just take off and do stuff like this.
He's loading up supplies for what would be nearly a 200-mile journey. The plan is to go all the way down the Savannah River from Augusta to the coast. He tried it last June, but didn't make it all the way.
The only thing I ate was one meal in 2.5 days and drank about 2 quarts of water. I was dehydrated. It was almost 100 degrees.
On top of that, his electronics died and a tropical storm came through the area.
At 50 years old, I figure I'm smart enough to know when I need to call it quits on something. So I promised myself I'd try it again.
Now he's ready to give it another try using lessons learned from last time. He has enough food and water for what he believes will be a 4-day trip. The only stops will be at night when he'll set up a hammock alongside the river.
I think that's it.
Yep. Turner's been kayaking around the area for more than 20 years, but he's never completed a journey like this.
This is just the next step to it, I guess.
And he's ready for the challenge. In Augusta, Will Volk, on your side.
And he's making some progress. You can actually track where Ron is in real time on a website that he shared with us.
Yeah, we'll put this website on our website if you're interested in keeping up with him. He says he's cool with all of us following along on his journey. It gets lonely out there, so it's nice to know some eyes are watching you.
And we're just a little bit jealous of that freedom
yeah.
to just take off downstream.
Take off down the
like
river.
it.
I'm not jealous of the mosquitoes, though.
Riley,
Mosquitoes, alligators, snakes.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to battle some elements out there, but luckily the weather does look nice.
That is about a
Absolutely.
12th of the size of a boat that I would want to take on that 4-day journey.
Hey, hats off to Ron though. That is going to be a heck of a journey, and I'm sure something he'll have with him the rest of his life. I mean, some memories he'll make on that journey. Pretty cool stuff. Very rural stretch of river there.
Leaving the Hawks to rely on returners Trey Young, John Collins, and Clint Capella. Regardless, guys, big changes coming up.
Alyssa, thanks. What a great season for the Hawks, though. Honoring Augusta's history all week long, we've seen dedications and celebrations for some of the iconic African-American figures who've helped shape our city.
News 12's Claire Allen is at Laney Walker High School to show us a new mural just unveiled today.
Marjorie Carter was one of the most well-known and well-respected educators in Augusta. People in the community came together for a fitting tribute to a pillar in the Black community. What does today mean to you?
Everything.
The son of Marjorie Carter is honored and proud to be a part of the legacy his mother left behind.
The challenge she left the family to serve and to be active in the community and to give back and to pull those behind you forward. That is her theme. Never leave anybody behind.
The Lucy Craft Laney Museum of Black History, along with other community members, came together and unveiled a work of art dedicated to Miss Carter at the high school where she taught.
Despite legal segregation, Miss Carter and many others like her were able to plant that seed that allowed for students to then go on to become future doctors, attorneys, educators, college professors. Miss Carter did a little bit of everything.
Not only was Carter a teacher at Laney High School, she was also a charter member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the Augusta chapter of the Links, and the Payne College Alumni Association.
This was an extraordinary woman who did so much for the community, and she represented a time period in which, African Americans were often treated as second-class citizens, but what she instilled in others, especially her students, was hard work, determination, focus on education, and the sky's the limit.
In Augusta, Claire Allen, on your side.
So the hall is now officially named the Marjorie Carter Science Hall, and over the weekend, the Augusta African American Historical Society unveiled a monument at the corner of Phillip Street and Laney Walker Boulevard.
It's in honor of Reverend A.C. Griggs, and he worked with Lucy Craft Laney at the Haynes Normal and Industrial Institute, which is now known as Laney High School.
Great history there. Yeah. Happening tomorrow, a debate between the two